It's now 6:30 p.m. and we're here at the Pine Ridge Clubhouse located at 4801 Lakeside Club Boulevard for the November 21st Pine Ridge at Fort Myers Condominium Association Board of Directors meeting. Sorry about that. John Fricker's on vacation this week, so as vice president, he's asked me to sit in for him as chairman of the board this evening. Before we get started, I'd like everyone to stand and join me with the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Eric, will you call the roll, please?
Yeah. John Mel.
Here.
Bob Tolles.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Scott Harris.
Here.
Tom Trino.
Here.
And absent, we have Phil Schifano. He had a procedure today, so he can make it. And John Fricker's on vacation.
Thank you, Eric. Was the meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Do I have a motion to read the meeting of the previous month's minutes?
Could we waive the reading of the minutes from last month?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Eric, did we have anyone sign up for the open forum?
We did. Jolene Porter. Good to see you, Jolene.
Oh, this is the first time you've been here in a while.
Yeah. So I'm here because the social club president had to be home because we're doing double duty tonight. So just to let everybody know, the sign-ups for Thanksgiving are back there. The deadline is tomorrow. If you still want to come tomorrow, you can sign up. It won't be taken down until Friday morning. There is karaoke next Saturday night. The flyer didn't get up yet because Pamela's been a little busy doing her work duty. But it will be from 6 to 9 outside. If the weather washes on us, we'll come inside. But we're going to try it outside. And we're very slowly opening activities, so things are moving forward. We have a bunch of things planned for the winter already, and a lot of the activities will be outside, weather permitting, because it's just easier. If we have to move stuff inside, that'll happen, but we're trying to do as much as we can. So be patient. There are activities planned. And if you haven't been by the memorial at the end of the lake, please take your golf carts and go see it. So.
Bonnie Robertson.
Yeah. Down by the green.
Hi, I've never talked to a board before. Been on a board, but never talked to a board. I have 3 things I'd like to ask you about. One is, I live at 9610 Green Cypress, which is the last building over. We have a real full bike rack that is in a parking space. Is there any way that bike rack could be moved down to the cul-de-sac? To the side of the cul-de-sac where no one ever parks? Could the bike rack be put there?
We can take a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it would
I
be
can't answer yes or no right this second.
yeah, it'd be a pain in the neck to move it because everybody have to move their bikes because it's chock full.
Well,
But
if it's an improvement, it might be a good idea. So we should take a
it
look at it.
would be an
So we
improvement.
can take a look at it and see.
Okay.
But no promises, okay?
Thank you. Secondly, the walkway, there's not a walkway, a little walkway between 9610 and 9570. Everybody cuts through there to go to the pool.
Like
From
where
our end.
it dips down there?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there any way that, like some paving stones or something could be put there, or even like a little bridge?
Yeah, build us a bridge.
There you go, a bridge would be nice,
Honestly, that's
because
the-
everybody cuts through
That's
there.
the idea that I had a long time ago, and I think it would be very
Well,
nice.
then let's bring it to
But,
fruition.
Bear with us, it's one of the things on the list, right now, like material costs and things like that, it would
Oh,
cost.
I'm sure,
three
but
times as
even
much.
right now, if we could just have paving stones, because when the sprinklers go off, it gets wet, and we all cut through there.
How long,
You're not supposed to cut through there, that's the only thing. Paving stones kind of show, if somebody trips and falls on the paving stones, it kind of shows we said they could cut through there.
Don't ever
the-
confess, Tom.
That's the concern I would have of doing something temporary, but I like the idea of the wooden, like a wooden
It would
bridge.
look
there,
really
yeah.
good.
Japanese
And, okay, and the only other question I have is a budget question, where it's broken down, condo 1, condo 2, 2A, and 3. Can somebody explain what that is, like what buildings it, encompasses? Because I don't know that.
Yeah, I could show you better on a map, but basically condo 1 includes Sailview Court, Lakeside Club Boulevard, Villa Drive, and the condos around, or the villas around Green Cypress by the shuffleboard there.
Okay,
And then condo 2 is the buildings, the multi-story buildings, like where you live, those 4 buildings.
okay,
And then also Blackberry, almost down to the mailbox, till just before the mailbox on Blackberry.
okay.
And then the last 9 buildings on Blackberry, 18 villas, are condo 2A. So condo 2 is where you are, condo 2A is just those 18 units. And then Royale Drive and Windsor Club, that's what we call condo 3.
Okay, awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
So we could show you on a map one day, it's probably better than that description.
No,
but-
that helps, thank you.
The ones with the numbers like 220, 5,300, and 5,600 are condominium buildings, and the ones with Roman numerals are villas. And then 2A and 3 are all villas or single family.
Well, yeah, and one way you could tell also is like Bonnie, like you're in 9610, so that's the 203 building. Is,
Okay.
is, like for your account number is 203. That 2 is because condo 2. And it's the 3rd building in the row. there,
Okay,
you know.
thank you very much.
And then Christine, you want to talk?
No complaints.
No, I just wanted to give everybody a reminder. Something happened this morning. When I went out to my car this morning, there were
Can't hear you.
Listen to the
lady.
microphone, come on.
And name, who are you?
Use your word voice.
Okay, so when I went out to my patrol car this morning, there were handprints on it. So clearly somebody was in the community looking. I had handprint on both sides, one on one side, one on the other. Substantial, like good handprints. So somebody's clearly looking in my car.
Did you look at any of the other cars to see?
I kind of looked at ours, just like kind of in my
your
building.
building.
Yeah, and because the cars were very dewy, so
Yeah.
it would have been easy to see. And I didn't notice anything, so I just want to give the heads up. I mean, I seriously doubt it was one of us, that live here. So I mean, clearly somebody was in the community. Just make sure, I always lock my stuff. I mean, I lock my condo door, even if I'm checking the mail, like I lock it. It's so important, just lock your stuff. Keep your cards locked, don't keep anything in there, because especially with the holidays coming now, it's gonna get ramped
And the way
up.
the economy is, the people that are not doing well, they get to be desperate, they do desperate things.
No, I mean, it's no newsflash that we have, the motels, hotels, whatever the heck you wanna call them, in that area that just don't, have the greatest clientele in there. So, like I said, if it was on my car this morning, I don't know if anybody else's cars were entered or anything. You would probably know, you would have.
No one has said anything, but also, not a lot of people are looking in that.
I mean, it
you
could
know,
have been
that
something
mindset of
specific
look-
for my car
Well,
to
and
see.
you also have the mindset of, you look for things to be wrong because that's part of your job.
I noticed it right away. Like, I noticed it immediately when I was in my car.
What time did you leave this morning?
7:30, 7:40.
Okay, I left at 7, I didn't see anything on mine.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody else would have noticed it on my car, but I mean, like, I noticed it because I'm going to put my key in. I was like, what? That, it was one here, and then when I went to the driver's side, there was one on that side too. So, you would notice it probably on your car because the cars were
Yeah.
very dewy, so you would definitely
The thing that I would
notice
just
it.
reiterate, and what
Lock
Christine
your
said,
stuff.
like sitting in this clubhouse here right now, it feels like we're in a perfectly safe place that nobody would do anything bad to anybody. But outside the gates, we have to remember that as much as we're isolated, it's not the best out there.
The audience around us
so-
isn't that great.
Yeah, we've said it over and over again. John has repeated it over and over again, and that's why we're trying to improve.
And it's easy.
That
It's
aspect.
easy to get in here. I know the gate sometimes is a false sense of security. You know, yeah, I know there's a fencing over here, but it's you can
Yeah.
easily get through the gate or
Well,
go over the
and a
gate.
gate is a deterrent.
Yeah,
A
it's
gate
just-
is a deterrent. That's all it is. It's nothing more.
So don't leave things in your
And,
cars.
and frankly, a lock is a deterrent. A motivated person can break through a lock. But the least we can do is have our gate working, have our locks locked, have our cameras on. That's what we
It
can
very
do.
well could have been specific to my car. I mean, sheriff's vehicles have been targeted before because sometimes people leave their gear in
Is there
there.
a camera on there that can leave on it tonight?
No, there's. So it's wet. It was wet, so you can't do it wet. And then by the time I got to school, it was all dry, so it was done. But that thought crossed my mind. And there's no cameras in that area as
So,
well.
all good questions. We gotta keep it though. No audience.
I know.
Thank you,
So,
Christine.
yeah, you're good.
Lock your doors, lock your
Lock
doors.
them.
A couple of years ago, we had a similar thing. We put some signs up to remind people to lock your doors. And I know some people don't. Please do it, okay? That's it for those.
All right, thank you. Eric, you want to do your manager's report now?
Yeah. So a lot of what we've been working on over the course of the month is what we're going to be talking about in the agenda. But we do have some things coming up and some things going on that I want you guys to be aware of. First thing on my list is lock your doors. We just talked about that. Landscaping, we've been working on doing some landscaping, getting ready for the season here. And you saw the pink begonias going in yesterday, and they're looking good. They had the irrigation. It looked beautiful today, the irrigation. I gave them a big thumbs up, so I think we're in good shape with those flowers. And the pink's a little different. The past we've gotten red, so I was happy to see the pink. There are some supply chain issues going on related to flowers, mulch, the whole thing. So we're about 2 weeks behind on mulch due to supply chain, but that's a lot better than some other places where I live. Actually, they said we don't know when we're getting it. So I called concerned about ours, and we're about 2 weeks behind. There's a railing that was damaged over at 4701 Lakeside. Anybody over at that building may notice. That is scheduled to be repaired second week of November. It's going to be Mario's Painting and Contracting that does the work, the same group that did our painting. Did a very good job, so they'll be repairing that. We're going to have pressure washing in the community starting on the 6th of December, and probably through that whole week we'll have the different common areas with community pressure washed. I know some people want to have maybe their courtyard or something like that pressure washed. If you're interested in that, we can put together a sign-up sheet and they can schedule that with you after the association stuff is all complete though. But they're pretty reasonable, they're very good. It's the same guys that we've had in here the last several years. His name is Felix, the owner, Benitez. At the end, you can take some questions, okay? So look forward to power washing, dumpster areas needed. There's a lot of areas that need it. It's going to be very nice when it's all done. So just want to let you know that's on the way. Bike racks, we installed some new bike racks. I think they look really nice. As far as function, I've had some people love them, some people not like them that much, but you know, welcome to America, I guess. But overall, I think we've increased the capacity of what we can hold, and people seem to be respecting the policy that the board set, and not storing their bicycles under the stairs, which we're very pleased to see. One thing we did notice in one or two spots is some trash and some other things that shouldn't be under there. And if you see that, or if a friend of yours tells you they see that, have them call me and let me know so I can try to address that right away, because we really don't want anything that could be a hazard or just looks bad. You know, when you have company coming over, this is supposed to be a first-class community, and that's the way we're going to keep it. So we want to be made aware of stuff like that, so don't hesitate to call me. So we took a lot of time working on the mailing. We have 5 candidates for the board of directors. I'm going to go over that later on in in the process, or in the agenda here. COVID-19, it seems like we're doing a lot better with COVID-19 as far as the whole area. We have Kathy Fox. She's still helping people get their first and second shots if they do want one. She's also helping get a booster shot. I even took my booster shot last Tuesday. If you're interested, she'll help you. If you're not interested, that's okay too. But we hope that everybody is safe and takes precautions in that regards. But we thank Kathy. She over 100. Do you know how many people it was for the first round?
142.
142 people making appointments for them, and at the beginning it was very difficult to get those appointments. So, pretty good job. And she's not here, but if she was, we would give her a round of applause.
49 boosters.
49 boosters. 48 plus mine. She
Yeah, 48 plus yours.
The fascia repairs, we had some fascia damage when we had that really bad windstorm. And the company that takes care of that for us, they came out and they took the pieces down, but they didn't have the new pieces to put up quite yet. Now everything's back in place, it's looking good, and hopefully we don't have any more windstorms that strong. That was a very unique storm. Lastly tonight in the manager's report, I said last month I wanted to go over and let you guys know, it's kind of interesting, how many different applications as far as sales, rentals, and even work orders that the office will process through the course of a year. So I went back and I looked at approximately the last 12 months. It's hard to get an exact because closing dates and move-in dates and things like that. But in the last 12 months, so October of last year, we have processed about 65 rental applications, which is a little less than I thought actually, and that's good because we don't want to be a rental. We love our renters, but we don't want to be a rental majority community. So 65 rental applications. We've had 75 sales applications processed. So of course the 75, so then it got me interested. Well, I wonder how much worth of real estate we sold in 75 applications. So it's about $10 million worth of real estate. So that's pretty good in just about a year. So the values are really going up too. As I was adding it up, they're going higher and higher down the list. And then 388 work orders. So, and these are work orders. A lot of times you guys will tell us something, we'll take care of it real quick. It doesn't get necessarily registered in our work order system. These are real work orders. So 388 work orders. So I just thought it was interesting to quantify that, and thought you guys might like to hear that too, because the data is interesting. In January, I want to take a look at this whole year's real estate because we have some closings coming up at some nice prices, and give you guys a real estate update of where the prices are in the community. And I don't want anyone to sell. Everybody needs to stay. I don't want to sell. But give you an idea of what they're going for, because it's really interesting to see. And the housing's going up all over the place, but it really is here in Pine Ridge, and I'm really impressed with that. So that is the manager's report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Eric, for all your good work also. Scott, you have a treasurer's report ready for us?
Yes, we do. The association finances remain stable. I'm always happy to be able to say that every month. Tonight, the board will vote to adopt the 2022 operating and reserve budget, or not. I'm hoping. The 2022 budget calls for a between 4.79% and 4.91% increase in quarterly fees next year, depending on unit type and condo location. We have kept maintenance fees rises a full point below the 2022 Social Security COLA, which is a success, and 2 points below the current inflationary rate. The general insurance premium increase that we've talked about ad nauseum has accounted for more than 80% of the rise in the quarterly maintenance fee. As usual, the fees have been reduced by transferring funds from the operating surplus. If we just let the budget ride every year, we'd probably go up 3 to 4%. This year it would have been 7.5 to almost 8%. And we use that operating surplus. And by applying it to the reserves, we can cut those assessments, as I mentioned before, and that lowers the overall. So generally speaking, we can cut the projected assessment rise in half at least. So we hope Eric continues his good work and we always have a surplus. And you all will vote to carry it over to the next year to apply towards bills. Now, Eric and I went to the Myers and Brettholtz offices a week and a half ago to cover some general financial housekeeping, to sign their 2022 engagement letter, and to discuss the terms and scope of work for the upcoming association audit, which we'll be having. A couple days ago, I guess Bill England, our vice president, signed the agreement on behalf of the association. The negotiated cost is $5,900, which is much less than we expected. Has a lot to do, we have a good relationship with our accountants, and they in turn have a good relationship with one of the few auditing firms that are still doing condominium audits. Apparently, that's not much done by companies anymore. So I don't know what we do if we vote to have an audit and nobody's doing the audits. I guess we'll cross that bridge.
Start an auditing company.
Good job, start one.
So anyway, and the company that will be, whose name escapes me, that will be doing our audit, said they'd give us a little bit extra off too if we give them an extra month to do the audit. So the audit should be coming in June instead of May. So anything to save a little money. Had Lori go over the budget as it was finished up, and Lori made some suggested adjustments. Doesn't affect the budget itself substantially, but there was an effect to the calculated percentage of the fees rise, and they were a little bit off if you look at your sheet. And we made the adjustments, now they're much more in balance, and there's a lot more clarity to it.
Lori, by the way, is the managing partner
sorry.
at Myers and Brettholtz, so
Right.
she's the main boss over there.
Yeah, yeah. So always looking for an extra set of eyes to go in it.
Yeah, she's excellent. We like
Yeah, Eric works with her a lot, and they seem to like it. So I think he flashes his baby blues or whatever. And that's worth money in the bank, too. So we don't mind if they objectify. Current accounts receivable consists of 15 owners, 4 of whom are the attorney for collections, 11 owners in the collection process, and 2 who owe a small amount. These things tend to get adjusted between the time they do the report and the time of the board meeting. So we do work with people in ways of catching up on their arrears. We're not Simon agrees, but, and it's a big but, eventually all assessments, fees, and costs owed to the association will be collected. If anybody tries to take advantage of our generosity or our good nature, you mess up, you find out. So it's just like, just stick to your fees.
We understand things happen. When you go into collections, it goes to our attorney and digs the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. So we always try to work with people on before that happens. And as long as they follow through, no problem. If they don't, though, sometimes it ends up going the way we don't like it to.
Okay, you all should have a copy of the balance sheet and income statement for October. That will be attached, and association financial documents are always available for review. And if you have any questions at all, come to the office with them, because that's the straight dope. Street dope is whack dope. Whenever you hear outside of here, if you hear something and it seems a little peculiar to you, come into the office and All the information is available to you. If you'd like to see more information than what's in the balance sheet, there's the big form that we get also. Make print off a copy if you want to take it home and look through it, but it's about 77 pages. So, anyway, and that's all for me. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Scott, and we'll give you a big hand for keeping us some money in the bank. And keeping us in the black instead of the red.
It should be, but the internet's been a little spotty.
Okay.
We're recording it, and we will be posted tomorrow if they can see it. We have
Can
two
you put that out for us? That we're recording?
Yeah, I always put 2 cameras just in case.
Not me.
All right then, next I'd like to ask any of the board members if they had anything on their committees. John, do you have anything with safety?
Oh, please. I have a lot. I know I bored you all last time with the bike notification. So again, please lock your cars. Dog walkers, please pick up after your dog. Thanksgiving potluck, they're looking for volunteers this coming Thursday, 10 a.m. I also have, we entertained 3 different vendors for new surveillance systems in here and out by the pool, who all 3 submitted bids, which we analyzed very closely. Eric, myself, and Scott. We quickly learned that these systems are not apples to apples comparisons, as each vendor proposes using different brands, different quality equipment, wiring, and technology. Going into this project, Eric and I, along with my committee, agreed that whatever we install should be quality and built to last a long time. We do not want to get a throwaway type system that you buy at Ollie's. We're not looking for that. They don't last very long, and we don't want to have to replace it again after a few years. Almost all of these quality systems are made, lower quality systems are made in China and could be banned from sale in the U.S. at some point in the future. We believe that protecting our residents, along with our clubhouse and pool, is critical. It provides security, protection from liability, and is an excellent deterrent for crime and trespassers, in addition to countless other benefits. As it turns out, our current access control vendor, which is New IQ, they're the ones that installed the new cameras and stuff at the front gate when we had the big storm. And they offered the best system for the value, although it's costly. They are an authorized dealer for the Avgilon cameras. Vigilon. The company is owned by Motorola, and everything is manufactured in Texas. We currently have the system at the front entrance. It works great. We're also shown some very impressive demonstrations on how effective these cameras can be. So when Ed Rickey comes in late at night on his McDonald's run, and we can't see his license plate because of the glare, there's actually settings that now we can zoom in. We can get his expiration date, and we also have a radar unit that's going to be attached to that, just for Jersey drivers.
They show you a picture of the car, and the license plate is white, and then you can't see it at all, and you zoom in, and you can see it perfectly.
So these proposals call for wiring the whole system with Cat5 cable and 8 cameras instead of the 7 we currently have. I am very confident in this system and of this vendor. For that reason, I would like to make a motion that we would approve a proposal for the new IQ to install the new camera surveillance systems and network video recorder and the Cat5 cabling, all at a cost of, $12,935.
We can't take any questions from the
We'll get to you later.
At the end.
I know where you live.
At the end, we'll take some questions.
We'll take the question on. What we'll do, John, on that is, that'll come up under the old business, and we'll address that then and take the vote on it, if that's all right. Okay, Bob, do you have anything on the rules, regulations, and an architect?
We'll be posting a meeting for both committees mid-December prior to our next monthly meeting. I'll be leaving for Michigan in a couple days for a week, but I'll be right back. And I'll get that posted as soon as possible. Other than that, we don't have any new news to report on the committees, but as far as the architectural side of it and keeping the community clean and nice, I know there's been some complaints about debris in the condo hallways and overspray on the paint from a project. I'd like maybe Eric to speak a little bit about that, because he mentioned that we're gonna have, you know, them come in and do power washing, but that's not gonna do anything for overspray damage.
Yeah, and the hallway coat, floor coating does not get power washed, by the way. That gets mopped like a different way. We do that twice a year. So the power washing is going to be like the concrete surfaces, the tennis court, the pool deck, the garbage areas, that type of thing. As far as pretty inconsiderate, I think, to go outside and spray paint something in the hallway, the finished area. Yeah. So the way to fix that is to go in and repaint, you know, touch it up and repaint it, and try to make it look as best we can. So I'm working with the owner of the unit on that one, because it was their tenant who it appears did the damage. It's not going to be significant or costly, but it's just so disrespectful. You know, that's the thing that really, and not only to the association who paid a lot of money to have it, you know, and you guys who paid that money in for all those years, but the people that live there that have to walk by and see it, it's not the way we do here. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, Bob, and now that we have the bicycle issue under control in the condo area, I was going to try to rein in some of the clay pots and things like that that are around the villas.
I noticed some of those clay pots have been disappearing. So thanks to those that did hear that message and took care of that. And like Eric said, I guess we'll be after the rest of those. We're not against somebody doing a project by any means, but please take the necessary precautions to protect your surrounding area. And there's plenty of grass area and tarp or something like that, but the hallway's not the place. Aside from the overspray, we've got paint fumes that may be nauseous to somebody.
Oh yeah, of course. It'll make you sick. It'll make you sick. And yeah, so, I didn't cover that.
All right then, thanks, Bob. Scott, do you have anything on landscape?
Well, Eric's already mentioned that we've done the annual plantings this week. We're doing a pink dragon. I kept wanting to say angel wing.
That's also called an angel wing.
Okay. It's a wingy begonia. That we've tried other plants, and every time we do the begonia, those seem to do the best. And it's better to get something that's going to live and spend money on the things that just die. So we tried to switch the color out. I think they were red last year. They'll be pink this year once they grow in and fill in, and that's nice. The front fountain, I suppose, Avant-Garde is going to come in and work up a little decoration and a planting around the fountain. And then as soon as I'm missing some of the people that generally participate in the landscape committee, as soon as they show up, we'll probably do a road trip to the specialty nursery down here in Buckingham, pick up some butterfly plants. So anybody that's interested in that, we'll post it and let you know. And that's about it.
If I could just add, this goes with landscaping and also rules. Some of the people that have the clay pots and the things outside their courtyard or in their yard that they're not supposed to have, we understand that you want to look good around your villa. If there's something that's missing or lacking, or if we can make it look better, come to me, let me know. It might not happen the very next day, but almost everybody knows that we want to make it look as best we can, but we also want to follow the rules, and there's a way to do both, and we can all work together towards that, so it goes hand in hand.
Thank you, Scott, and just a little note on that, if you can add a little color in there somewhere to help us out there in the front, I think that'd be a big improvement from what we've got. Everyone seemed to kind of fell out over the fountain issue out there, so we're trying to ring that back in and hopefully make it look a little better, make it a little more presentable for everything. Because that's the first thing people see when they come to the association, so we want to try to make that look a little better. All right, Tom, you have anything on the website?
Yeah, an update on the website. We're getting closer. It seems like the more we do, the more ideas we come up with. Well, let's add this or let's add that, and it all takes a certain amount of time. We had a little setback in the last month. The gentleman I was working with at the web company quit and left, so they had to find a way to disperse all of the accounts he was working on.
You overworked him.
Yeah, beat him right into the dirt. Yeah, he did get to the point where he didn't even answer the phone. So I think he had me on caller ID. So I used Marcia's phone and got right there. But anyway, that slowed us down a little bit because it took a couple of weeks to find the right guy. And now, of course, he's overloaded because instead of hiring somebody, they just dispersed his work with the current employees, which seems to be the norm these days. Anyway, we're looking at the end of the month, first of the year. We'd like to make a big splash rollout sometime in January. Most of the owners are here then, and we're going to do some demonstrations on the features and put it up on the big screen here, and if people want to come and take a look. So
we're gonna get cookies and coffee in the works. So everybody's
Oh, you bringing those?
Okay. My treat.
I think Marcia's gonna bake some.
That would be a cool thing.
See, I can say that here now, but I'll hear about it later.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're really looking forward to it because it's going to be kind of interactive. There'll be a webcam on the pool, so you can see who's down at the pool or what's going on. And we've got a weather site and a number of things like that.
You'd be surprised how many people want.
Oh, yeah. People, I don't know, from what I've heard, people want to look and say, gee, do I want to go down to the pool? Nah, there's 80 of those idiots there. I'm going to go later.
Or they're up north and they miss it and they just want to see it.
Right. Yeah. That's like my fishing webcam up north.
Whatever makes you happy.
Watching the deer run by. Anyway, so that should be rolled out in mid-January is what we're looking at. I just want to add something on the rules and regs. Personally, I was really pleased to see how well the whole community stepped up on this bicycle issue. I mean, voluntarily, people took care of their business, removed their bikes. Eric got some more bike racks in. It seems like it's working. There are no bikes anywhere in any of the hallways, and that speaks a lot for the whole community and the pride of ownership and so forth. And we're hoping the same thing with some of these other things. If you've got pots outside, just take care of it. I mean, Eric doesn't want to or have the time to be an enforcer, so.
But I will do it.
But he will. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like, whoa, Eric. So anyway, if you see some of that or you have some, bring it in the courtyard or do whatever. But we'll just It just enhances the whole
And if
place.
you've got it there because you think something would look nice there,
Yeah,
talk to me about it, and we can put the appropriate thing that's within the rules there, at, hopefully soon, but at some point in the near future, and it will look good. And almost everybody that has ever had a landscaping issue has came to me and has came out very happy, I think, with it. Like I said, working together is the way to go. You know, there's no reason to have those pots outside.
no. That's it, thank you.
All right then, thanks, Tom. And I'll give just a kind of a brief highlight on the lake and amenities report. The last report that I got on the condition of the lake is still in good condition as far as all the numbers go on the way the water's tested. It's not completely clear, which it'll never be, but we're gonna have to live with what we got. You may have noticed some of the tape grass had floated to the top, and that's good because that means it's dying out and going away. So hopefully we're getting that taken care of again. The phosphorus level was a little high in the water, but it's still within the range, and that has to do a lot of it with the turtles and what the turtles do in the water.
What do they do?
They do the do.
Do we have film on that?
Yeah. That'll be in the next meeting. I'm going to have that one. And also, people like to feed the turtles out here at the dock. And where I take the water sample is right there at the dock. So it's good in a sense. We know what's going on with the water, and it's still staying, even though we're feeding the turtles right there and the phosphorus is a little high. The lake overall is still good because that's where I'm getting my sample at. And I try to get it in the same place all the time so we'll have a consistent reading on how our water's doing.
I think if we look at the other side, it means we have some healthy turtles. Right?
Yeah, yeah. And we do have some big turtles in there too, I'll tell you that. And anytime you walk out there on the dock, the turtles know right where to go. So it's not like we're not feeding them, and I'll have to admit I've fed them too. So, but we need to try to get away from it if we can to help the clarity of our water. And Eric talked about the bicycle racks, and it's really good we've got these in some places. He just put the last one, I think, went in out there at the tennis court, which is going to be really good there because a couple of evenings I came in and we had bicycles parked out on the roadway there. So it's kind of a blind spot when you come around the turn there. So that should help take care of that issue, and I want to thank Eric and Bruce for getting those things installed for us. And one other thing I just wanted to mention was the power washing, and we'll be doing the tennis court and the shuffleboard courts at that time also to get them cleaned up, so that'll help them also. Yeah. That's all I have on the lake and amenities. Here, you
The
have
last thing I was going to add, it's not an official committee, but Christmas is coming up, and we always like to have a nice Christmas display. I don't think, due to some issues money-wise, we're not going to have exactly what we wanted. We really wanted to go full out this year, but we're going to have a very, very nice Christmas display. They should be working on it at the end of the week, and hopefully next week everybody will enjoy that.
All right.
It will be 2 dogs with Christmas hats on.
I tell you what, they had a turtle with a Christmas hat on. And I said, that would be so perfect for us, and they were sold out. But I keep my eyes open. If they go to stock, we need that.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a couple of items to address under old business, in which one of them was the discussion on the clubhouse and the pool surveillance system, which John has already went over the particulars on that. And at this time, John, if you would like to make a motion to approve that.
So I just want to tell you that we had 3 RFPs, requests for proposals. We just didn't go with one company or 2 companies. We got 3 of them So just so you know, that's pertinent. I would like to make a motion that we approve the proposals from New IQ to install the new 8-camera surveillance system and network video recorder and the Cat5 cabling.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I got 2 seconds.
All in
Discussion?
Discussion?
Yes, I want to point out, this is one of those situations where I don't lose my rag over an expense. If we're going to do this and it's necessary to do this, there's no point in cutting corners because the system's going to fail when we need it, either in terms of resolution or frame rate. We had a small problem previously and we had somebody on camera and it wasn't ideal. Getting the wired system is better because we don't have to rely on Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Yeah. So, and they got the 3 RFPs. Additionally, the best offer, fortunately, came from one of our trusted long-term vendors, which means they're much more amiable if there is a problem to come in and quickly fix it and do it at a really good price. And they're just coming in the long run that the people that we do business with tend to take care of us down the road when we need it. So that's all I have to say. It's just, it's a bit spendy, but I think it'll be worth it.
This is an example of the board, you know, it's always talked about, we go to a lot of classes where you go, you send it out for bids, 99% of the time boards pick the cheapest bid and that's it. This board really looks and analyzes every single one, and this is one where, I don't know if they were the most expensive, but they were pretty close, but it's worth it. And sometimes it's worth it to get the best, and I think if they vote for this, they're making the right decision.
All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, this item has passed. Going on to the next on their old business is the discussion on the proposal for the 2021 financial audit. Eric, you may have some information you want to give out on
Scott
that.
pretty much touched on the fact that we were able to get a firm that is very reputable. We did quite a bit of research on them and able to do it for a price about half of what I thought it would be, which is very good. We gave them an extra 60 days. Instead of 5 months, we gave them 6 months to finish it. But in exchange for that, we were able to save some money, and I'm very confident they're going to do a good job. In fact, read the name of the firm. It's some of my brethren there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Goldenberg, Rosen, and
I'll get to that. And I just want to add to that I personally went online and did some research on my own on this firm, and it seems that they are more than qualified to complete this audit. And if you'll recall that when we talked about this audit, we were always saying it's probably going to be anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000. Well, it came in a lot less than that, so.
And the reason I said that is because we paid over $10,000 in 2014. So,
yeah.
But that firm is no longer around, and we're, I believe, in better hands now.
Eric, if you could explain some of the other reasons for doing the audit, besides having our, ducks in a row as far as our accounting practices, if we have an emergency situation.
Well, in an emergency situation, in the unlikely event that, say, something were to happen and the community needed to take out a loan, a lot of times banks are going to want to verify that your financial ducks are in a row and you're going to be able to pay them back. Giving them that audit is that. If there is any type of anomaly or theft or something like that going on, if you don't do it, it continues on year after year after year. That's why even giving them that extra month, if something was going on, we're giving them an extra month to do it, but we're not anticipating any problems like that. But that, I mean, and then the other thing I would say is every single person in here pays about $1,000 a quarter, and we have a little more than $1,000 a quarter, and we have 462 units. So about $500,000 every 3 months of revenue is generated from this community. $5,900 a year to audit our financials is a pretty good deal, and if it gives people peace of mind and makes you feel better about it, it's well worth it. Whether we want to do it every year or not is a decision for the board and the community. But I think at this number, I'm a lot more comfortable with it than I was at 15,000, like I thought it was going to be. So,
On the subject of loans, we'll take out a loan under my dead body. But as far as residents are concerned, banks are reluctant to offer mortgages to condominiums for a lot of good reasons.
yeah.
People can get a mortgage here because what they look at our financials and our financial health. And if we have this audit in the packet, our reserves are fully funded, we have very, very few defaults. I mean, we've got money in the bank, we're in good shape. People do get mortgages for condominiums in Pine Ridge, which many, many condominiums can't say. And this is just part of that. This is more of a benefit for people buying and selling residences than actually it is. I hope we never have to pay a loan, but it's just, yeah, that's just another.
Having audited financials, it just keeps an eye. I mean, we have an accounting firm that does a very high level of financial reporting, but we got to check in on them every once in a while too. I mean, it's you never know what could be. And one thing that was encouraging to me, I like to read body language and signs and things like that. We waited till the last second to tell them that we're going to have the audit. We decided this months ago, but we didn't want to let them know because there's something wrong. We don't want to give them time. But now it's the end of the year and you have to kind of make arrangements. So we let them know and shrug their shoulders, no problem, no big deal. And that's what I want to see, so that was good.
And also maybe there's some things we could do better in-house, and they might be able to suggest some things, because we are volunteer
Yeah, that was one
amateurs.
thing that this proposal also, normally, it's just numbers, they're just checking your numbers, but here, if they find something wrong, they will give you a paragraph explaining what they see, and that'll be very helpful.
If I can add something, I spent my career as a mortgage lender, so 40 years I was looking at mainly individuals, but one of the things, and when I was still working when we first moved here, I did several mortgages here, and as Eric said, one of the big things that every mortgage lender looks at, and they're required to by regulation, is the financials of the homeowners association. And over the years, I've had a number of HOAs who were not solvent or looked a little scary. There's absolutely no problem with Pine Ridge. We never.
Back in 08 and 09, a lot of condo associations went belly up.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of mortgage companies are very, very apprehensive to issue mortgages in a condo.
Yep.
And a lot of times you have to fill out very lengthy questionnaires, giving a lot of information about the internals of the condominium in order to get the person approved. And that's because they got screwed over during that time. Fortunately for Pine Ridge, it was an established community at that time, and it didn't really fall into the pitfalls that others did, and very fortunate for that.
Could I add something? So we haven't had an audit for 7 years. Every year it's in our budget to have an audit. We haven't had it. We've rolled it over back into the general accounting. So that money has come back into we never spent it. So figure out, it was $8,000 times 7. We saved $56,000. That's how some people are going to look at it. This way, we can make sure that we have an audit. If there's a devastating hurricane that takes down Denny's building, which is going to be more than $50 million to put up a new one, we'll be able to get funding from that from a bank. So I believe it's probably in our best interest.
The statute used to call that you could waive it for up to 3 years, and the 4th year you did it. That seemed pretty reasonable to me. Then they changed it to where you can waive it in perpetuity. Might not be a bad policy to go with the, at the very least, you can waive it up to 3 years, the 4th year you do it.
One more quick comment on the mortgage side. Much to Scott's chagrin, but if there was a major catastrophe here, say a hurricane took down 2 of the condo buildings, you're looking at 12, 15 million bucks. And nobody wants to wait for the insurance company to settle. I mean, we want to start building right away. So we'll need to get financing somewhere. And it doesn't matter what bank or lender you go to, they're going to require an audit. Well, if we're hungry for money to start building, we don't want to wait 4 months for an audit to be done. If it's already done, bang, it'll go through and with no problem. So a lot of good reasons to have this audit done at this point. Thanks.
All right, then. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask Scott for a motion as to whether or not we should approve the proposal from the firm of Gerstel, Rosen, and Goldenberg, PA, to perform an audit on the association's 2021 financial. And I butchered all their names real good.
Have you made the motion, or somebody else made it?
You're going to make the motion.
Am I making the motion? Well, I certainly make the motion that we engage the services of Gerstel, Rosen, and Goldenberg, PA, to do our audit in the following year for the amount of $5,900.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I have any further discussion? Which we beat that horse to death, haven't we? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the item is passed.
On the subject of Gerstel, Rosen, and Goldenberg, PA, Hanukkah's early this year. It's the 29th at the end of the month. So Eric needs socks.
Yes. All right, under new business tonight, we have to affirm and approve the 2022 operating and reserve budgets. Yeah. Scott, do you have anything to add prior to calling for a vote on the topic?
There's, as I mentioned in the treasurer's report, we made a slight adjustment to the thing you can pick up at the office. Whatever this is what we're approving tonight. There's no real difference in it. It's $1 here and $1 there. But there's no change to the budget that you've all seen in your mailing as far as that goes. And just sprinkled a little extra money into the reserve. And I think we're good to go. This one looks pretty tight. Depending on what the insurance companies do to us next year, we might run a little over budget on insurance, slightly, maybe not. But we'll just watch expenditures in other areas and see if we can get it covered. So that's all I have to say.
Any further discussion from anyone before we have a vote?
I think we should thank Scott for doing a good job on the budget. He works his butt off.
Good job,
He woke me up this morning worried about the budget.
He's on top of it. And he complains to us all the time.
You just spend money.
It's so easy.
He's the one that reminds everybody it's real money and it's tough to come by.
These are real dollars.
All right, do I have a motion to affirm and approve the proposed budget?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the 2022 operating and reserve budget has been approved. Okay, next we have is the discussion on the annual proxy vote and election of director for the coming year. That's It'll be for the 2022 year, which is coming up next month.
Yeah, so I like to go over this with everybody every year because it's a pretty, sure, most of you have seen this, at least I've done it 9 times, so most of you guys have seen it all nine times. You got your package on the way in, I hope, for voting. There's 2 things that you're going to be voting on. One is a proxy vote, and the other is the election ballot. I'm just going to go through the whole packet with you, page by page, so that way anybody watching this video later on or here right now. So the first page is a letter just explaining the contents of the packet. The important part of the letter is that we have received notice of intent to be a candidate for the board of directors from 5 candidates. There are 3 open positions. I'm going to get to the ballot and I'll explain that to you. The proxy page, and the important thing about the proxy is even if you're coming to the meeting, we want you to fill out and turn in this proxy. We need to have 232 proxies, or 51% of the community, in order to have the annual meetings. Every meeting that we have throughout the year is a meeting of the board of directors, and you guys in the audience are observing. This last meeting of the year is the annual members meeting. So we need a quorum of the members, and the way we do that is by having 232 paper proxies. So please fill that out, even if you're going to come to the meeting, okay? The 2 questions that are on the proxy this year, one question that's not on the proxy is waiving the audit, because we're going to have that, so that's good. But the 2 questions that are on the proxy, one is spelling out new language that will be added to the nuisance provision of the declaration. We've had some issues with, a resident here or there creating a problem that escalates to a point that is not acceptable to me as the manager, and I don't think it's acceptable to the board here. And our nuisance provision, which was from the original declaration in 1985, was pretty short and sweet and didn't say too much. It said you can't be a nuisance, which is we left that part in there, but we added a little bit to it. So we'll get to that page, but I think that you guys should really read that closely, and I think as long as you know you're not one of those nuisance people, you probably want to vote for that because it's going to help you at some point in the future. In order for an amendment to the declaration such as this that we're putting out to pass, it requires 67% of those who vote, so of the quorum, to vote in the affirmative. So we need a two-thirds majority to vote yes of the voting group. If you abstain from voting, it doesn't count. So that, to give you an idea of the standard. And the reason why it's 67% is because it's supposed to be hard to amend the declaration. It's supposed to be difficult. But I think something like this is something that will probably easily go through, and a lot of you guys will be happy to see. The second question is basically just a tax accounting question, and we ask every year for you to vote for the board of directors to roll any excess funds into the succeeding year, which reduces the income tax liability. We don't have to show it as income at the end of the year. So the board of directors unanimously supports that, and I think everybody would like to not pay taxes if we don't have to, and we're not breaking any rules. So the important thing is 232 proxies, so tell your friends, tell your neighbors. If they're not going to come, that's okay, but turn in the proxy. Even if they don't want to vote on those items, turn in the proxy, but I think it's worth a read and worth voting. So the second page in the packet is the second notice of the annual meeting. You got a first notice in your last packet last month. So this basically is the meeting notice for December 15th, and it tells you kind of the way it's going to go, the basic meeting agenda. Then we'll have the election, and I put up a sign-up sheet for election committee members. We have a process to count the votes that is very transparent and very good because it checks itself at both ends. There's no questions at the end of the results, and we do it every year. We get together, we do a practice round at least once, and then we do the election, but it does take quite a few volunteers. We have 5 candidates. We probably need close to 10 volunteers. I know a lot of people who have volunteered in the past are volunteering again. That's good. Anybody who would like to help and volunteer, even if we get that 10 people, we could use a couple backups in case somebody gets sick or can't make it or whatever. But it's an important job. The only people who we're going to disqualify from joining this committee are current board members, candidates, and their spouses, both of their spouses. So, sorry guys, but yeah, Marcia, normally you'd be on there.
Yeah.
The sign-up sheet's up there, and if you're interested, if you've done it before, you know the deal, and I think you guys, we have a good time usually doing it.
It's fun.
So yeah. This is the proxy right here. What you do is you fill in your name or your address, and you can vote question 1 and 2, and then you sign, date, and print, and put it in the envelope with the voting stuff. So I'm going to show you how those envelopes work. That's what it's about. As far as that nuisance question, I think people probably are interested to hear. So the original nuisance provision in our declaration said, unit owners and their tenants and invitees shall not engage in any practice, exhibit any behavior, nor permit any condition to exist that shall, in the exclusive judgment of the Board of Directors, constitute a nuisance. Period. That's what we had. In addition to that, we would like to add constitute a nuisance or breach the covenant of quiet enjoyment. No one may engage in any abusive or harassing behavior of any form or any form of intimidation or aggression, whether verbal or physical, against other members, residents, guests, invitees, members of the Board of Directors, the association manager, employees, agents, or vendors. Because nuisances and breaches of quiet enjoyment are largely subjective, the Board of Directors may choose to act only against egregious nuisances or breaches of quiet enjoyment. If the association chooses not to act on a complaint of a nuisance or breach of quiet enjoyment, the complaining party believes the association's action is not sufficient, such party may personally take action to enforce the provision against the other resident. I mean, so if the neighbor is causing you a problem, you do have rights. And those rights are not necessarily association in the middle of it because it's a neighbor issue, you know. So, but you do have rights. So, and we want to spell that out for people, so that's why it says that. Such party may personally take action to enforce this provision against other residents, but specifically waives his or her right to take action against the association, its officers, directors, employees, and agents in the handling of the complaint. So we're trying to protect, they're protecting the association, protecting everybody. We also do not want to allow nuisances. So I think it's pretty well written. Hopefully if you guys like it, you'll vote for it. If not, we'll go back to the drawing board on that one. The ballot, so the candidates. Meet the candidates. We have 5 candidates. They are Lori Blaze, Bill England, who's our acting chair tonight, Ann Irvin, Kay McEldowney, and James, and everybody knows about Skip Mufali. So those are the 5 candidates. We're going to have a Meet the Candidates night, Tuesday, November 30th at 6 p.m. And that's going to be right here in the clubhouse. And you'll have the opportunity to ask questions if you have questions for them. And we'll record it, and we'll try to stream it on YouTube. I'm not sure if the stream is working, but we'll stream it, and then we'll record it with our backup camera just in case, and we'll put it on in the morning so people can see. But Tuesday, November 30th. Then you want to, shortly thereafter, send your votes in so we get them before the 15th, which is the day of the meeting. Looking at the ballot, this is the important part that I want everybody to follow. This is the ballot. There's 5 names. You may choose up to 3. You can choose 1, 2, or 3. If you choose 4, your vote's not going to count. Okay? We want you to just put an X next to the person's name, and then you're going to take this ballot, fold it up, and in your package you're going to have 3 envelopes. Envelope 1, envelope 2, And then this big one, this is your proxy return envelope, it says. Because we don't want you to put the proxy in envelope 1 or 2, okay? So in envelope 1, you're going to put your ballot in, and you're going to seal it totally up. And you should have seen when I had to get the envelopes that all fit inside of each other.
Not easy.
Can't you get them from Russia?
I just told them what we needed. So then envelope 1 sealed, right? Cannot be tampered with. Goes inside envelope 2. So it's double sealed.
Is your name on that, Eric?
No,
Envelope 1, your name is not on.
no, that's a secret ballot.
Envelope 1, your name is not on. But envelope 2 has a spot for you to put your name, your building number, and then your signature. And then we audit these before the count to make sure that everybody only voted once, to make sure that somebody moved out, and now somebody else should be voting. So we do audit these prior to, based on the front of the envelope here. So that is important that you fill that out and turn it in properly to have a valid vote. And usually, when we get these back, Pamela's gotten really good at being able to tell if people did it right or not, so she'll call them back in and try to get them help, but it's better to do it right the first time. So envelope 1 has the ballot, goes inside envelope 2, seal it, sign it, then take your proxy, put it in envelope 3, the proxy return envelope, and you can also put your sealed ballot separately, though, from the proxy inside of that. And then these are stamped and ready to go. So if you're out of town or you don't want to come down here, and just throw it in the mail. But it's really important. We want to have 232 proxies, and we want to have enough votes to have a valid election too. So vote. You've got 5 information sheets. They're in alphabetical order, not by last name. You can read over them. And we've got some good candidates, I think. I think we're going to be in good shape. The other things that are included in this is the policy about the bicycles, just to remind people who maybe haven't heard about it yet. So we included that in there. And then we also included, John, we're always going to include this.
Thank you.
Slow
Yeah,
down.
Ricky, take notice.
Slow down. Please. I don't think it's the people in this room that it's directed at, but please, if you know somebody who drives too fast. That includes golf carts, by the way. That includes golf carts, that includes bicycles. I sent some bicycle safety stuff out last week, but I did get a complaint about somebody saying that golf carts aren't really following the same traffic rules as cars. So I don't know who that is, but try to follow the same traffic rules as the cars. And that's it.
All right then. That takes care of item number 2. We've only got 14 more items and we'll be done. I promise you won't be just a few more minutes. The next thing we have on the under new business was discuss and warn the residents of potential outdated circuit breaker panels which may be in some of their units. Eric, if you want to kind of hit on that a little bit.
Yeah.
You've got some information there that you
Yeah,
put
I
together.
did some research on this because I thought it was pretty important to make everybody aware. And some of you guys know this when you bought your unit. If you had an inspection go through, the inspector pointed at the circuit breaker and said, hey, that's an old one, you can't have that brand because it was a problem in the 80s type of thing. And we've had them all through the community. It's 2021. We haven't had very much problem, although many people have changed them out. But as I was doing this research, they're only built to last about 30 years to begin with. And then if we have faulty ones on top of it, they're 36 years old, that's not that great. So I'm just going to read you what I wrote up here about this, and then you guys can make your own decision about the next step. But I think it would be wise for everybody to seriously consider having your breaker, your circuit breaker, changed to a new current panel. So it says here, check your circuit breakers. Warning about Federal Pacific electrical panel. The circuit breaker is the most important part of a home's electrical system. It constantly distributes and receives electricity. The panel protects homes from power surges and other possible hazards. With regular maintenance by a licensed electrician, which I know everybody did, experts say that electrical panels can function properly for about 30 years. The original and outdated electrical panels in Pine Ridge are 36 years old. We know that. Some of the units in Pine Ridge we have confirmed to have the Federal Pacific electric circuit panel. And we bring this to your attention because experts report that Federal Pacific circuit breaker panels may have 3 major faults that could pose a danger. 1, Federal Pacific panels may not meet today's updated safety codes. Federal Pacific panels were produced from the mid-1950s well into the 80s. Experts say that FPE panels produced during that time frame would not conform to today's updated safety codes, would no longer be allowed to be sold to the general public. Safety standards that were once acceptable years ago are no longer considered safe. Some examples cited by experts as to why FPE panels would not pass today's safety codes: wires may be crowded inside the panel box, bus bars may be spring mounted, breakers may still be active when in the down position, and split bus breakers may no longer meet updated safety codes. And actually, our electrician that works here for us and has done a lot of work over a long period of time for us, he said that to me about the breakers may still be active even in the down position with this type of box, which is a very dangerous thing because that's how accidents happen. Breakers may unexpectedly trip when the dead front cover is removed. Breakers may have loosened connections to their bus bars. Breakers are often jammed within their sockets, which can cause overcrowding in the panel. Breakers can easily split when placed into sockets. Federal Pacific panels may also have manufacturing defects. Using UL 289 testing conditions, the Consumer Product Safety Commission found that Federal Pacific panels may be unfit for homes. The materials used to construct the breakers may be weak. As a result, the breakers may not trip, and the panel could be susceptible to catching on fire. So that is not good, right? What should a homeowner do? Good question. If your unit has a Federal Pacific panel, it's highly recommended that you talk to a licensed electrician about replacing the circuit breaker panel as soon as possible. It's a potential safety hazard, and it's also a potential insurance issue for you. If you're aware of this and you do have that problem, in the unlikely event that that problem does happen, you know how insurance companies are, they try to weasel their way out of paying. So don't give them a reason to try to do that to you. There are many qualified electricians in the area who can assist you with this, and should you have the outdated panel. The electrician that we use, the company is called Bob Leitner Electric. It's a father and son, and they've got some other employees. They're very reasonable, they're very good. He told me it's about $800 or $900 to do this. I don't know if a lot of people forgot it together, maybe we can get him to do it for a little bit less. But honestly, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money when you consider the risk of not doing it. You know, it's one of those things that you almost can't afford not to. Now I went and looked at a lot of circuit breaker panels. A lot of people have replaced them, or they've been replaced over the years. If you see Square D brand is a good, you know, they're all good. But Federal Pacific is the one you want to watch out for. But yeah, and you're not required to use Bob Leitner Electric. That's just who we use. You can use any electrician that you want. We don't care. Now I took some pictures of one that will show you Federal Pacific on the, and this is all going to be in your package also, so you'll have copies of this to read and take home. But there's the switch to open the panel says Federal Pacific. Then on the inside you'll see Federal Pacific, and this is the type of panel that, just by virtue of age, even without those other reasons, you probably want to look into updating. But knowing this information, I recommend people do it. You know, it's one of those things. It's money that you don't want to spend, but you can't afford not to.
Eric, thank you for all that valuable research that you've done on that. And hopefully everyone will look through that and you make your own decision whether you need to change it or not. The fourth item we have on our new business for tonight is the discussion of the installation of an emergency exit button at the pool area. This button will be placed out here at the north end of the pool on the wall, back far enough from the wall where you won't be able to reach in from the outside to hit the button, but you still can use it from the inside. So this will allow the pool gate to open without having to use your access card. In my opinion, this should be required by the health department when they come and do inspections on the pool area, but it's not a requirement. So we're gonna go above and beyond what the requirements are and put that in there. If something happens out here, we don't want someone to have to worry about running through their bag or whatever and trying to find their access card to get out to get to the equipment,
You know, fortunately for us, you know, we have the defibrillator here. Fortunately, we've never had to use it, you know. But there could come a day that we do. And if it were to happen outside at the pool, and somebody ran to go get the defibrillator and then forgot the card at the table and had to run back to the table to get the card, well, in that 20 seconds, we may lose somebody that we really care about. So this is actually priceless. You know, it's about $750 to have it installed. I believe that maybe they just haven't noticed it for 36 years here that we don't have it, but I believe it is required. So the fact is, we do the right thing no matter what, and we're going to be installing that button.
and it's for the benefit of everyone, you know. You never know. Hopefully, we'll never have an emergency out there that requires it, but if we do, we want to be able to react to it. So at this time, do I have a motion to pay for the installation for the emergency exit button for the pool area?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Do
second
I have a
that
second?
motion.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, the item's passed. We'll install the button. So that concludes the new business that we had for tonight. What we have now is the,
I think we had a couple people with some questions.
I have some questions. Anyone wants to come up and ask a question, you'll be able to do that at this time.
Just say your name and address when you get to the mic.
Address, I gotta get that to.
That's what we like, yeah.
Bar Jacks, 9540 Green Cypress, apartment 16. Couple of questions. The first one is, I love those signs about the bikes. However,
There's a
if you walk
misprint.
through the hallways, you're gonna see other stuff
Yeah.
under the stairwells. And as a former principal, the fire code says absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
So I think that's another issue we need to look at.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the stairs being pressure washed, of course, in our development, you wouldn't pressure wash our stairs, but when it rains.
What we do is a scrub with soap and water, yeah.
Oh, okay, but, yeah, but the problem is, if it's only done twice a year,
Yeah.
we're right where I-95 is, so all that dust comes over the fence, and it rains, and people are tracking mud all the way through. So I think it needs to be done a little bit more frequently.
It's a budget item, Scott.
Yeah,
But-
it's a budget. I mean, the bottom line that people do need to keep in mind is that they are outdoor hallways. So they're not gonna be, you know, they're gonna be clean right after they do it, and then shortly thereafter, they're gonna be dirty again, even if we did it every month. And then the other thing that happens that, sometimes we'll see like people spill coffee or soup or something like that in the hallway. And, you know, so if that happens at a hotel, right, they clean it up for you because you're in a hotel, you don't have your mop and your bucket and your, but if it happens at your house, you know, these buildings are cleaned every 10 or 12 days. Twice a month basically is our goal. We try to get 3 times. So you spill soup in the hallway, it's going to be at a minimum 8 days, you know. So yeah, people should clean it up and be careful, and you know, it's your house, so you should want to take care of it. But the other thing is they're outdoor hallways. It's an almost impossible job unless you have someone clean every building every day, which isn't cost. In fact, it's hard to get one person that wants to do that job at all. So.
And the final thing is, I've been walking around the lake lately, and I noticed some of the areas are marked off with red, with paint, because it looks like the trees or roots are starting to come up. Is that going to be fixed?
Yeah, we're working our way there.
Okay, I'm.
Do you like my painting lines? I painted those myself.
Anyone else have anything before we adjourn? I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I know this has been an extremely long meeting, but we had a lot of things we had to get covered tonight, a lot of important issues we had to take care of. There was a lot of good discussion here from the board members tonight. Hopefully they a little insight into what we kind of look at. Go ahead.
Marcia Trino, 4741 Blackberry, everybody knows. When you were talking about the golf carts and that, it was brought to my attention by two different people that bicycle riders are just pulling out in front of people and they don't stop. And ironically,
You
can't hear me?
She said bicycle riders are being a little careless in the way that they're riding.
They're
And I think everybody needs to understand walkers, people walking their pets, bicycles, cars, we're all sharing the road together. So, I mean, if you see anybody or anything, you should be going very, very slow. And bicycle riders have to be aware if a car is backing up for something and they're come out of nowhere, they're going to get. So
well, we were driving down here tonight and coming out of, I call it the Green Cypress Shuffle Circle. They didn't stop and they pulled right in front of us and it was dark and only one had lights on. So if we could maybe include that in our slow down
Our bicycles supposed to stop at a stop sign just like
yes.
Yeah, it's all
I think that'd be common sense
I
to,
think
you know, avoid getting hit by a car.
Well,
but whatever. It's
that's
not
the ultimate
safe.
goal. I was just wondering the law. Ultimate goal is not to get hit. Yeah.
You know, ultimately, it's foot traffic that has right of way over everybody.
Right.
And the vehicle is probably the last one that has the right of way.
But whatever the right of way is, still everybody on the road has to follow the rules of the road. I don't know what they teach these days, but in the 50s they beat that into us pretty
Yeah,
Literally.
and enjoy life. Don't rush around. I'm the only one that has to rush around here and get things done. Everybody else can relax and take it easy. So, like I say, from the furthest point to maybe from the front gate, it takes less than 3 minutes to get to it if you drive 15 miles an hour or less. So there's really no reason to drive more than that.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and being with us here tonight. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
No discussion.
Danny, you all right? Danny, you all right? Allergies? Allergies?